Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay.
And welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Parlay. I am your host, Mike Jokum. Joining me tonight for our season preview number 2 episode is Matt and Jess. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we?
Fan-flippin-tastic.
Are we sure this is number 2? It's been a while since our last one.
This is the re-preview? Is that what we're...
Yeah, it's season preview part 2, season re-preview, whatever you want to call it. We are redoing our episode from the end of February or early March with everything that has happened. So it is officially the last week of the off season. Knock on wood, I guess. You know, things can probably change last minute, but nonetheless, it is time to dive right into it. So up first, we have our season champion prediction.
All right, so I am going to go first on this one, and I am going to stick with what I originally picked, and I am going to say Rossi.
I am also sticking with what I picked, and I am selecting Scott Dixon. And I think it helps that tracks like Long Beach and maybe we'll throw a wild card in there like Richmond aren't on the schedule just because those may or may not be some of Dixon's weaker tracks based on history. So I think his chances may have actually gotten better with the revised schedule.
All right, I'm going to take my first. I don't know if this is really a hot take, but it might be a little bit of a hot take here and go the complete opposite of what I went in the first one. I go Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to win the 2020 championship.
Yeah, I'm going to call that a hot take.
Yes.
I think based on his season last year, he would definitely retire if he won the championship again.
Yeah, I think, and listen, this is based on zero factual evidence. It is based on, I looked at the list about 5 minutes before we started recording and went, it'd be fun to pick him. I think he's got a potential to do it. He's not in like a Carlin car, so I'm going to leave my answer at that before I get made fun of even more here.
It's maybe a good idea.
Yeah, we won't make fun of you too much in October / whenever the season ends. So I'll go next with our next category, which is Rookie of the Year. I was telling Jess before the show, I kind of lucked out with this one going first because I'm going to take the most obvious of the answers in Oliver Askew. I think his success in the road to Indy, coupled with the fact that he's going to a team, Arrow McLaren Schmidt Peterson, that seems to know what they're doing as long as they can convert metric to imperial or vice versa correctly. As long as they can do that well, I see a lot of good things in Askew's future.
I'm going to go with Alex Palou. Everybody at Dale Coyne speaks incredibly highly of him that we've talked to over the last few months. He really impressed at the preseason test in COTA, so I will go with Palou.
Oh, and that leaves me with a hot take.
Don't say it.
I don't know. Which one are you saying don't say?
Don't say Kellett.
Nope, not Kellett. I'm going to go with VK. Also still kind of a hot take, but I think that he's got a better chance than Kellett. So I'm going to put my my pennies in his jar, I guess.
I will pour 2 gallons of milk on my face if Dalton Kellett somehow gets Rookie of the Year with his part-time schedule.
Somebody write this down.
He would have to win all the races, including the Indy 500, to have a hope.
Honestly, weirder things have happened
this year. Weirder things have happened.
True, I guess, but I'm not feeling too uncomfortable about that prediction.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not gonna stock up on milk. Or
as I say, you two are just arguing for arguing's sake.
No, I'm not gonna stock up on milk. But All right, so we're going to go into our third category here, guys. So will we see a first-time winner this year? And if you think so, who?
I am going to say no. With the lack of off-season or the extended off-season, it's really going to come down to experience this year, and the crazy schedule will lend its hand to those more experienced. Don't shake your head. I'm allowed to make hot takes to start it off and not go with the easy yes.
Well,
It's a lot harder to say no, actually, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm actually shocked that you came right out the gate with a no. I think my face kind of gave it away there. But anyways, my pick, and I'm gonna say yes. So my pick is gonna be Ferrucci. I think that he's gonna come out shining on some of these ovals that they may not get quite as much practice on, just because he is, we'll call it gutsy.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be Hurricane Mike with my doom and gloom here. I'm also going to say yes. And I'm going to go with the driver who I feel has the most improved ride for this year in Jack Harvey. So, especially since they're scheduled to run 2 races at the Grand Prix of Indy this year, where he was very strong last year. So, hopefully, Jack Harvey has a better 2020 because things are shaping up for him.
That's not a bad pick. I will give you that I could see him doing really well again there, because he tends, especially if we have weather like we did last year. So in October in Indy, it rains a lot.
Not to reverse compliment you, but 2 races at Iowa, Santino.
I know. And the first one, Texas, with no practice. So that's what I'm throwing my.
All right, Jess. Now we got to compliment Mike's pick. Nope.
Okay. Well, moving on.
Fine.
Oh, okay. So our next category is going to be, who do you think is going to be the 500 champion? And I got first pick, so I am taking Rossi again. And I'm sorry for taking Rossi, but that's my pick. He's good. He does good things there.
Based on what we saw last year, and I know his race was all of 5 laps long, I'm going to go with Colton Herta. That's kind of I don't know if that counts as a hot take, but given his limited time on the track during the race last year, still a little bit of a question mark as far as what he may be like towards the last 25% of the race. But given what we saw last year, I have high hopes for Colton at Indy this year.
I would say that's a mild hot take, but did he even complete 5 laps last year?
5 or 6.
I want to say it was like 3, but I think it was 3.
Either way, I will go with, who am I going to jinx this year for the 500? I will go with our buddy Will Power. I know I went with a hot take for this in our original preview episode a couple months ago, but I'm feeling good about Will's chances if it's a hot August Sunday.
Doomed.
I know. Sorry, Will.
Yeah, you should apologize.
Yeah, I'm going to, between you two, I'll go ahead with Jess's pick. I feel like I got Jess's back tonight. I don't know why.
I appreciate it, sir.
I'm not liking this so far, but what else is new?
Moving along to a newly created category, because previously this question would have been really boring. We would have all said Detroit, laughed to ourselves, and moved on with our lives. But now, given the new schedule, we're going to go ahead and pick what the quote unquote best doubleheader for 2020 is going to be. Our new options for this are Road America, Iowa, Laguna Seca, and the Grand Prix of Indy. I'm going to go ahead and go first. Of course, I'm picking Road America, because why would Road America not produce the best doubleheaders? Because it is the best road course in North America. Hopefully, we see some information about fan safety and whatnot, because I still would love to go if everything is safe to do so. So we'll see what my schedule looks like.
I like it. I pretty much figured you would go with Road America since you were up first there. I will go Iowa. We have twin 150, 200 lap races, or what, I forget exactly what it is off the top of my head right now. Twin night races in Iowa is going to be a lot of fun.
I can't dispute that twin night races will be fun, but twin races in your backyard is going to be even more fun. So I'm going to go with the Indy GP. Obviously, they don't fall in the same weekend, but one in July, one in October, going to be totally different weather, totally different racetrack. Going to be a lot of fun to see different people and how they handle the different conditions. So that is my pick for the best doubleheader.
Two thoughts. First, can we appreciate that Iowa's actually a night race this year? I mean, I know it was. I know
It's a night race twice this year.
I know last year ended up being a night race, but it's kind of unintentional. Second is I actually did have some thoughts about the Grand Prix of Indy. Watching an old Formula One race there. And I don't know if we've actually talked about this before, but wouldn't it be cool if they did the F1 layout, or at least they used turn one as the final turn of the track, if you get what I'm saying? So you know how they come into the short chute between 1 and 2, but then they do the chicane, and then there's the pit entry. Wouldn't it be cool instead of doing that chicane or whatever, they just kept going straight, turning right onto turn 1, and then went down the straightaway just like the Formula 1 cars did?
Yeah, they only did that like a couple years, wasn't it?
IndyCar never has. Formula
No.
1,
I meant Formula 1. I'm sorry.
they used that layout every year between when it started and when it ended, '00 to '07. Even in 2005 when Michelin had their disaster, they didn't change the layout of the track.
For some reason, I thought they used the chicane a couple times. I don't know why I had it in my mind that they did.
MotoGP did,
Yeah, they did.
but
I sat
never
there for MotoGP. That was a really cool place to sit, actually.
never Formula 1. So I wonder, I don't know. I don't know if there's some sort of limitation from them doing that, but I think it'd be a lot better. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why there would be, but maybe you're right. Maybe there is some sort of reason.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, for me, it'd be just about, seeing what the cars could truly do as far as top speed. If you start way over kind of by turn 2 and you have all the way till, it's kind of confusing. You start at turn 2 and get to turn 4, how fast they'll be going on the oval part of the track. I don't know. I don't know if Mike has thoughts.
I think it's intriguing. I don't know. It's hard to picture it in my head right now, and I think I pretty much get what you're saying, but I think it's worth if they could like explore it somehow. And I know it was probably not feasible this year, but if they could do that in the off season for next year, I would definitely be interested to see.
I
how
wonder
it
if it's
turned out.
too hard on the tires, maybe.
Maybe. Or if they did like the July race with one layout, and then an October race, they used like turn 1 on the oval as a turn in the track. I don't know. Something to ponder. I'm just throwing out ideas. That could be just completely like whoever in IndyCar is probably listening to this right now, probably like, God, would this guy just shut up?
I get that too. Well, moving on, we'll give a quick Team Pit Lane shout out here before we continue on in the episode. Let's this week give a shout out to George Butts, our buddy Colin Taylor, and last but not least, down from in Australia now, Stephen King. And with that, we will jump right into question number 6. Who will be the most improved driver from 2019? And I get to start this one off. So I will go with Zach Veach. I think last year was pretty bad, and it can only get better. So having a team Andretti around you can only mean good things, I hope. I know that's not the case for one of his teammates, but I'll just leave it at that.
So, hot take, I'm going to pick his teammate that you are likely speaking of. Yeah, so my hot take is going to be Marco, because there's not a whole lot he can do to be worse. So he's got to be better, right? Like, I mean, I guess it could be the same, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to go upwards this year.
I think you just made Jake Neely jump out of his pants out of excitement.
Hold on, Jake. I would actually agree with Jess. That was actually honestly going to be my answer. Unfortunately, for the similar reasons as far as, at a certain point, the 0-16 Lions could only go up.
Jesus.
Did I just compare Marco to the 0-16 Lions? I might have. But yeah, but I'm just saying that when you're at a certain level, the only way to go is up. I have to think a second here. Hang on. I didn't even write down a second one. I didn't think any of you two would say Marco. I'm going to go, well, I don't know if I can go with Tony Kanaan, just because it's very hard to see what his schedule is going to be. But if we're talking strictly kind of a black and white question here, I'll go with Tony Kanaan just because I do have a little hope for Foyt based on what we've been hearing and seeing from testing, that they may actually have found a little bit of pace this offseason. Fingers crossed, because they've had some futile years here. So if they did find some pace, obviously there's another driver who, and I wouldn't put this at the feet of Kanaan, but another driver who's had a couple bad years and kind of another one of those has nowhere to go but up. So if Foyt did find something, I do think that'll bode well for Kanaan at the tracks that he does race at.
It would be really good to see him do well too, being his farewell tour or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are a lot more bigger problems going on in the world right now, but what a bummer for him. His farewell year and all of this stuff happens. I mean, kind of a bummer. I hope he gets the send off that has been coming his way for a long time now.
Yeah, me too. He's a good dude and very good racer. So hopefully we will get to see some good racing out of him this year. I will give you that one. So moving into our next category, it is going to be the biggest disappointment on track this year. And I get to go first. So I'm going to totally ruin Mike's night because he picked this person to be the champion and I'm going to pick him to be the biggest disappointment. So Ryan Hunter-Reay, I'm sorry, man, but I just don't think your heart's in it. And I just don't think you're going to have a stellar 2020.
That is 100% going to be a Twitter poll. Do you think Ryan Hunter-Reay will A, be a series champion in 2020 or B, be a disappointment in 2020?
There's no in between. You got to pick one or the other.
They're you polar opposites here. There's nothing. we
All right.
we don't like any of this middle ground. Mine is actually going to be the exact same from our last episode, and I'm sticking with Santino Ferrucci, and that is solely because of some of the behind-the-scenes changes at Coin. Mike did touch on the fact that Coin actually has looked, well, Palou specifically has looked pretty good so far. So I could be completely wrong on that one. And I do really like Santino. I think he had a really good rookie season, especially in the ovals. But I just feel like some of the road racing racecraft is not quite there yet. And so I hope these changes don't have a huge effect on some of his oval abilities. And we'll see if he progresses any on the road courses.
Well, I guess it's my turn. I think I didn't re-listen to this part, but I think I picked Marcus Ericsson last time, and I'm going to pick him again. That third Ganassi car hasn't done too well when they've had a third Ganassi car in quite some time. So I'm just basing it off of that. No shot to Marcus's ability, but maybe he doesn't get the resources as the new guy on the team that he might need to succeed, and hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because obviously I didn't research this, but I'm trying to dig through the old brain to remember the last time Ganassi car that wasn't the 9 or 10 had a good season. And I think the only one that comes to my brain immediately would be Graham Rahal in 2012.
What about, and I don't remember how he did as the full season, but when Kimball won Mid-Ohio, was that 2013 or
Yeah,
2014?
he finished like fourth or something at Barber that year too, but I think as a whole he was still average. Yeah, I mean, Karam was okay, Savager was okay, Kimball was always okay. So yeah, I mean, you're totally right. This could be a bust, but
we're 20 minutes in and you finally agreed with me on something. I am smiling.
No,
I
said it could
right
be.
now.
I have a lot of faith in Marcus Ericsson though, so I'm going to disagree with you there.
You also have to remember it's 2020 and nothing is normal. So there's also that.
Yeah.
Get to the back of the grid and Carlin's going to win everything.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, there's a hot take. Next is most podium finishes in 2020. Who's that going to be? Well, of course it's going to be Scott Dixon because he's also my champion, I think. Is that how the logic works?
Sure.
That would make sense. I'm going to go not my champion and say that despite having the most podiums and poor grammar on my part, Simon Pagenaud will have the most podium finishes in 2020.
I like it. That's interesting. So Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to win the championship but not have the most podiums. It's
all about those wins.
With the logic.
That's yeah.
Listen, I have to play the field here in order to try to win as many of these as possible. So if I get
He's just diversifying his picks. That's all he's doing.
I have to spread
Well,
out
I'm
that
trying to check. Hang
portfolio.
on, before Jess goes, I'm trying to check here. Pagano had one. Oh, stop scrolling. God, I swear I'm like a 26-year-old trapped in a 60-year-old's technology mind. Pagano had 1, 2, 3, 4 podiums last year. So I could
That's not
totally
bad.
see where you're coming from.
Hey, there's worse, right?
Yeah, there was Marco with a 0.
There you go. So I'm not gonna pick Marco. I'm gonna pick my championship pick. Also, I'm gonna pick Rossi. I think he's gonna be consistent this year everywhere he goes. I think he'll have a hiccup here or there, but I think that he has gotten in the mindset this year, and this is gonna be his year.
Well, we will jump down to number 9 here. The highest chance for a sophomore slump, which would be, I guess, technically Pato, Colton Herta, Marcus Ericsson, and Ferrucci. I think that's
Rosenquist.
everybody. Rosenquist. Thank you, Jess. I'll stick with my Marcus Ericsson pick from a couple questions ago as well. It's I don't want to go too hot takey here on my
That's not
answers.
diversifying.
I know I just completely contradicted what I said in the previous question, but leave me alone.
I am pretty sure I picked this person in our first recording of the preview. I can't remember for sure. I didn't go back and listen, but I am going to pick Colton Herta. Even though he did have his struggles last year, he obviously still came away winner as a rookie, and I think that he is going to struggle to put it all together this year.
Do you think he will finish? So he finished what, 7th in the points last year, somewhere in the
something like
in
that.
the top 10. So will he drop out of the top 10
I think
altogether?
he's going to be like maybe, I don't know, 12th or somewhere around there, give or take.
I can't argue your logic. I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from.
Kind of like Marco. Colton's got nowhere to go but down, and Marco has no place to go but up. So
okay.
Is it lame if I don't go to the school of diversification and I might just pick Santino, unfortunately. Kind of with the same reasons I said earlier. I just I think he got a couple breaks last year, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, like I said, I'm rooting for him. I don't want to pick Felix either. I think Felix is going to be very strong. So I don't know. I just feel like I got a lack of choices there.
that's what happens when you get to go third.
Yeah.
All right. So moving into the next category, who do you guys think will complete the most laps in 2020? So for my pick, I am going to take Dixon. I think that he is obviously experienced and is going to be able to complete the most as long as something weird doesn't happen at, let's say, the 500. I think he should be able to wrap it up easy.
I'm going to go with Simon Pagano. I think he has a very good history of finishing races, whether it's 3rd, 10th, 14th, 1st. I think, 2 years ago, he finished like every lap in the season, or maybe that was last year. I can't remember. But I just think he has a very good history of being very consistent. So I'm going to go with Simon Pagano.
Okay, I can't argue that. I will go with Alex Rossi. I think he's just primed to have a very good year, like Jess mentioned earlier in the episode. So I don't think any of these answers are particularly hot takes.
But does that mean that you agree with me? Liar.
No, I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to do that. And just if anybody's confused, this isn't lead the most laps. This is just how many laps they finish overall. Even if it's Marco and he finishes 18th in the standings, but if he finishes every lap, he's the correct answer.
Correct.
So you're picking Marco then?
No, I was just
out of every driver in
piling
the
on.
series, to use as an example for the guy who finished most laps, you picked Marco.
No,
I
picked
know, but
Rossi.
your subconscious when giving an example picked Marco. I feel like
Well, we've been talking about him in a normal amount of this episode, so just kind of
He's
popped
just
in
got
my
Marco
head.
on the mind, is what he's saying.
man, I think that's kind of telling. I'm not gonna lie.
And Matt, to echo your point, I don't know if it was every lap last year, but Pagano did complete the most amount of laps last year by 10.
Nice.
So basically, I just jinxed him.
Probably.
Got it.
Yes.
All right, next up, and I'm going to completely blow your guys' minds with this one. Most likely driver to make a surprise appearance. For example, in 2017, Fernando Alonso came out of nowhere to race, and if anybody had said that a month before it was announced, we all would have laughed at him. So I'm going first. I'm going to go with, hang on, I had to write this down. It says Pieter Bellmans. That is my pick. He is the F2 driver for Carlin, who apparently is looking to branch out. And Carlin is probably going to be playing musical chairs this year. So hang on. Yep. Pieter Bellmans. Making sure I spelled that right. Yep. That's who I'm going to go with.
Who?
Ah, it's back.
I had to. I couldn't help it.
I think we need to you know what? I'm gonna do some fact finding on him. I'll get back to you guys on the next episode about Peter Bellman's here.
Perfect.
What?
Sounds good.
I said, you better. I want like a 3-page book report, single spaced on whatever
I'm sorry,
his
I
name
thought
is.
you just said, instead of saying you better, I thought you said Petter, as if I was saying his first name wrong.
I mean, it might be, but I'm.
If it's Piet, is that still Peter?
I have no idea.
We need an expert on
Can't you
this one.
type it in Google and won't it tell you? Like, won't it read it to you?
What?
Well,
Yeah, but we
I
can't do that
know
one.
we can't do it right now.
I feel, yeah, between like my Wikipedia's failure, I just feel like I'm like way behind on the technology game right now. What's going on?
And the fact that I knew that means that the world is spinning backwards or something. So,
Well, what is happening? This is a weird year.
Well, on that note, I will go next. Probably not as out of left field as whatever Matt said. I'm going to go, and I don't know if this is surprise appearance, but his name hasn't been mentioned at all in 2020 so far as I know, and go with Jordan King. I don't know if he's signed up to do another year in F2 this year. I really have no idea, but maybe we'll see him in a third Indy 500 car when something gets announced. I know he had saw a little bit of sponsorship on that car last year, so maybe he can find some money, but he hasn't been talked about at all in the first nearly 6 months of the year. So I guess we'll find out.
That's who's going to sponsor him again.
I would love it.
so my pick, I actually was just sitting here thinking, I don't know if it's actually going to be possible, because with the schedules being completely jacked up, I haven't actually looked to see if the scheduling would work. But I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson. He keeps talking about he wants to come over, and I think the opportunity is there. Obviously, it just dawned on me that I did not look at the schedules, but we're going to pretend that the schedules at some point are going to work out, and maybe he could come over and race. So I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that one, but I don't even know if NASCAR knows their full schedule yet.
Yeah, and like I said, well, we don't really technically know IndyCar's full schedule yet because it is still kind of rotating around. So yeah, that could be total bad take, but we'll see.
It's a worthy hot take.
Exactly.
On that note, we will wrap it up with one final question here. This is also a new one to the re-preview episode, and go with, how many laps will the winner of the Indy 500 lead? I will go with 63.
I am going to go with 121.
Are we playing Prices Right rules?
No.
Okay. Then I am going to go with 54. I was going to go 1 just to be a jerk, but
I was kind of waiting for you to say like 64 or something like
would
that.
I?
Yes.
You got a point.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, on that note, guys, that wraps up our season re-preview episode. Thank you to everybody for listening all off season part 2. And I hope everybody is staying safe and enjoying their quarantine fun and iRacing and whatever else you're up to nowadays. And I hope to see everybody at the track as soon as possible.
Yes, fingers crossed on that. Cannot wait to see you all.
Yes, thanks so much for listening. And like Mike said, hope everybody out there is staying safe right now.
Well, with that, next week is Texas, which means we get to preview Texas next week. And unless there's anything else, I think we can go ahead and sign it off.
And guys, keep your lug nuts tight.
We're all gamers. Every day, billions of people wake up, eat, and fire up a game as part of their daily routine. Whether you're a pro or someone just jumping online to kill some time, we all game. HyperX gets that. Their products are made to enhance your gaming life, including headsets, keyboards, mice, and products to keep your gear charged. Console or PC, casual or pro, no matter your level, we're all gamers, and HyperX is ready for you. Use our code PITLANE15 at checkout to save 15%.